Marcel. I'm the author of Python Network Programming Techniques. In this video, I want to give you a quick introduction of what is covered in this book. But before diving right into the context of this book, let's have a look at why we're trying to do the things that we're doing in this book, namely automating our infrastructure deployment, our infrastructure configuration, and also infrastructure information retrieval, right? If we look at today's infrastructures, networks in particular, but also things like our cloud infrastructure or our security appliances, these things have become increasingly complex, right? Thousands and thousands of devices that need near constant change or quite often require changes very frequently. And quite frankly, typing fast isn't enough anymore. And that is where automation comes into play, right? With automation, you have the ability to automate certain workflows that you do over and over again and turn them into scripts. And in this book, we're covering exactly that, how you can use different techniques, different technologies, all using the Python programming language to automate your workflows, to automate your infrastructure deployments. The concept of the book is that in each of the chapters, and there's 12 of them, we are covering one specific either package, open source package, that can be used for tasks related to infrastructure automation, or one specific technique using examples from one package. And with this book, this is not a theoretical book, but rather a book where we're trying to give you a very hands-on approach, right? Recipes that you can read in the book and then incorporate into your day-to-day work right away. So what's covered? Well, if you have to brush up on Python a bit, or if you're coming from another programming language, then the Python basics that we're covering in chapter 1 are right there for you, right? All of the different concepts, things like functions, or things like loops, variables, all of these different concepts are covered hands-on in the first chapter. And after that, we're going right to our first module, or our first Python package, in this case Paramiko, a low-level SSH library that we'll be using to already sending commands to switches or routers. Chapter 3 then covers the templating language Jinja, or formerly known as Jinja 2. So this shows you how you can create templates for your configurations so that you can fill in some variables and then have it generate a configuration for you that you can then later on go ahead and apply to your infrastructure. Chapter 4 then covers NetMiko, which is a package, sort of as the name suggests, built on top of Paramiko specifically for interacting with network devices and specifically for allowing you to, for example, easily go out and send a configuration template, maybe something that you've generated with Jinja 2, as seen in the previous chapter, to your network device. In chapter 5, we're then breaking here a bit, because so far we have always done sort of the same workflow that you would do if you would SSH into your device and type the commands just automatically. We're talking about model-driven programmability using netconf, right? So the idea of representing your device state in netconf and then sort of manipulating that state using, again, Python and the library called NC client. Chapter 6, we then dive into multi-vendor networks and how you can use a package called Napalm that is built sort of an abstraction layer in Python across different vendors, and how you can use that to automate more complex, bigger networks. Chapter 7 then captures PyATS and Genie, two open source packages that allow you to automatically test your infrastructure, right? Automated network and infrastructure tests, and also allows you to apply configuration to your device. In chapter 8, we then talk about RESTconf, which is a HTTP-based alternative to netconf, and we're going to use or introduce the requests package that allows you to make HTTP requests quite easily in this chapter as an alternative to using netconf and NC client. Chapter 9 then talks about more high-level APIs on the example of the Meraki API, so Cisco Meraki API, and it shows you how you can deal with REST APIs in general, again using the requests package. Chapter 10, we then turn to Ansible, and if you have used Ansible before, you might actually not be aware that most of the Ansible packages that you're using, right, of most of the code that actually implements whatever you're writing in your playbooks is written in Python. And in that chapter, in chapter 10, we're exploring how you can use all the things that you might have seen in the previous chapters and how you can build your own Ansible modules, so you can build your own instructions for Ansible so that you can then later reuse them from your Ansible playbooks. And then in chapter 11, we go beyond our on-premise network and we talk about cloud network automation and infrastructure automation at the example of AWS, right? Cloud networking in AWS in particular, using the Boto 3 SDK, and thereby also introducing a bit the concept of not doing raw HTTP requests anymore, right? Not using requests, but using an SDK, a software development kit. And then in the final chapter, we turn to security, and we again see how you can use requests to interact with on-premise devices or on-premise controllers, like in our example, Firepower Management Center. Yeah, that's the book. I hope you enjoy reading it. I hope you can take some of the workflows out of this and share them into your own life, share them into your own workplace. And looking forward to hearing from you what you thought about it.